I want to go back to a training I actually did a while back, which was talking about like the perfect system, or the one of the better systems we've seen for delivering online personal training. And this is effectively it. So not necessarily the program itself, but the actual system and process. So you can see on the screen now, we have the lead magnet, the challenge, the flagship offer, and the membership. I'm not going to go into too much detail about this because we've talked about this in previous trainings. If you're watching this and you want that previous training, just type training in the comments and I'll make sure I get that linked over to you and tagged you into that training. Well, it was in this group a couple of weeks back. So if you want that training and you want to see exactly what this system looks like as a whole, how it all works, how it's all built into PTD Distinction, so you can do it yourself or maybe get some help doing it if you want us to help, let me know, type training, and I'll make sure you get tagged into it. For now, though, quick overview here. Let's say you have this system in here, which will be a lead magnet, which is designed to help you attract in new leads and sell your services. And then from that lead magnet, you want to move them into a flagship program, which will be a 12-week program that you want to deliver, in this example, to your clients. And then from that, at the back end of that 12-week program, you want to move them into a membership program, which will be a subscription-based model. And that will, say, be 12 months long, maybe habit-based, something like that. And then also you've got a challenge that you can see down here. This might be something you offer every now and again, like 4 or 5 times a year, that would be offered to people that's already signed up to your lead magnet, but not decided to purchase your main program from you. So this here gives you a really cool system that allows you to find new leads, bring those new leads in, and then convert them into paying clients, and then retain them as a paying client for the long term. Now, all this can be done inside PTD Distinction, all of this from start to finish. So you can do your lead magnets through there, the follow-up email sequences, everything. And in order to do this kind of system, you need 2 things. You need to have a group structure set up, and you need to use premium packages. So that's what I'm going to show you today. We're actually going to have a go at making this kind of thing very briefly and show you what's involved in it. And then also, in order to make that work, we're going to have to use groups. So I'll show you a little bit about groups if you're not sure what groups are. And we'll talk about the communication side of it that's been updated as well, because that's updated in the groups in PTD Distinction. And I think it's important that we go through that, and I can show you how that works with groups as well, and maybe give you an idea of what's actually possible. So let's go and look inside PTD Distinction and see how this all works. So let's talk about premium packages first. So in order to do this, like I mentioned, you will need groups. I'm going to recommend a couple of techniques for this. If you have no idea what I'm talking about here when it comes to group stacking and groups, I'd recommend you check out the masterclasses, because in there I go through a bit more detail and explain how they work and how you can stack these groups together. So just bear in mind with groups that your client has no idea they're part of groups unless you tell them. And groups are more like superpowered templates than what they are actually group training. So you can group together messages, emails, you can group together workouts, you can group together content, you can group together clients, you can group together all sorts of different stuff tracking. And what this means you can do is you can do a technique called group stacking, which means you could have, say, a group for maybe welcoming your clients in. You could then have a group for results tracking. You could then have a group for maybe just different workout programs, maybe a group for different coaching programs and so on. The beauty of doing this, it means that those different groups can stack together. And within those groups, you'll have different types of content. As I mentioned, workouts, programs, emails, so on. And when you add a client to those groups, what really happens is all that content in those groups gets copied into the client's account. So it makes an overall big program for them. Now, by having a group structure like this, it means we can change and swap things around. And I talk about this in that previous training that I mentioned earlier. So again, if you want to copy that, just type training in the comments. I'll send it to you because I'll show you how to set all this up and how it all works in that training. And effectively what you can do is you can mix and match those groups up to deliver certain content to your clients. Great. Now, once you've got those groups set up, you can use them to build out your premium packages. Because what a lot of people do, a lot of trainers, is they'll add a client in when they sign up. They'll add them to the groups. And once they're in the groups, they'll start making tweaks and changes for them. I want to speed that up so you don't have to do anything. With this system and process I'm about to show you now, using premium packages, you can literally make sales whilst you're asleep. That's obviously the overall game for a lot of people. So you could do that if you wanted to. And I want to show you how this feature works. So first of all, you're going to find the premium packages up here in the burger menu by going down to packages. So these have been updated a lot. These have been very, very different a couple of weeks back. They're now obviously very, very different. They have a lot more features in there. So I want to quickly run through these packages with you now so you can see what's involved and what's going on. And I'm just going to say hello to Sean, who's just turned up as well, and Tyler as well. Nice to see you here. So let's talk about packages. So as I mentioned, packages allow you to create and sell complete training packages online. So when a new client signs up, their account is automatically created and populated with the content that you put within the package. And that content is decided by the groups that you add in. Like you see, I actually have some of these already set up, and you'll probably recognize this from what I was showing you a minute ago. If we go back to this bit here, you can see lead magnet challenge, flagship, membership. can actually see I have these down here already: lead magnet, challenge, flagship, and membership. So you can kind of see already a little pattern here. We're going to have a different package for each one of these. Now, before I jump into setting up a package and what they actually do, there's a bit of housekeeping you need to do. The first bit of housekeeping you want to do is connect your Stripe account. Now, anyone that's used premium package in the past will know that PayPal was originally used. I'm going to talk about what to do in that situation in just a moment. The idea is that it's been moved away from PayPal now to use Stripe because PayPal has a lot more limitations than what it used to. Stripe is more commonly used now within a lot of businesses. It's also a little bit cheaper generally across the board. And what we mean by cheaper is you don't pay for Stripe just like you don't pay for PayPal, but you pay a small percentage of each sale that you make towards them, like a fee, if you like, for every sale that's made. And Stripe generally works out a little bit cheaper because of that. So for that reason, Stripe's now been integrated into this directly. And that allows the PTD Distinction software to do quite a few extra things, like track your sales inside here and so on. So I want to talk a little bit about that first. The first thing you want to do is set up your Stripe account. Now to do that, you're just going to click on Stripe Setup and click Connect to Stripe. That's going to allow you to connect your Stripe directly to PTD Distinction. Now, if you don't have a Stripe account, when you click this button, they'll give you an option to set one up, so you can just follow through the process and set up your Stripe account. If you already have a Stripe account, just log in when prompted, and then it will connect your existing Stripe account to PTD Distinction. Really, really easy. Click on this button, follow the on-screen instructions. Happy days. You're all done. Nice and easy. Nothing else you need to do. Now, the next thing above that, which I think is a really, really cool feature, is called sales. Now, just ignore everything you see inside here. This is my test account. This is what we use over at PTD Ninja. So there's lots of testings, as you can see inside here, loads and loads of different tests that we do. So just ignore that too much. But hopefully I can give you the idea of what this is all about. So now what you can do in here, you can see that every package that's been signed up to, it'll give you the date it was signed up to, the name of the package, the client name that signed up to it, and the amount of money you made from that particular sign up. The cool thing here is you can filter these rounds. So you can filter it down by dates, whether it's a free one, so no Stripe payment, it's a free account, a free sign up. Or you can filter it down by packages. So you can put all your packages together and see, oh, this is how many people signed up to this one, and so on. And then likewise, you can do it by client name, and you can also do it by amount in there. So you can filter these down to get all the data if you need it to see what's actually going on, which I think is a very, very cool little feature. So you've got your Stripe set up. You can see where all your sales are made or free signups and so on for the different services that you offer, different packages that you sell. Now we have the packages. So to add a package, what you need to do is click the Add Package button. We're going to give our package a name. So I'm going to go and call this Test. Very creative, eh? First thing it's going to ask you to do now is add in groups. So I mentioned already what groups are in a bit of a nutshell. So here, in order for this to work, you're going to have some groups set up. So once you've got your group set up, you can drop it in. Now, as I mentioned, with that kind of system we talked about there, you can have a lead magnet, you can have a flagship program, and you can have like a membership. I'm just going to make this really easy. What I'm going to do is I'm going to set up, just to demonstrate how this whole thing works, I'm going to set up these two bits. I'm going to set up a lead magnet and a flagship program just to demonstrate it to you. So let's go and set up our lead magnet first on here. Inside here, I'll have a group that's going to be for my lead magnet. So you can see here, I've got lead magnet that's already set up. I use this one here, nutrition audit. And at this point, I can now choose whether I want it to be added straight away, at a date in the past or the future, so I can backdate it, or I can pick on day. Now, with all these groups, I have them set up, or this is what we do over at PTD Ninja anyway, is we have them already pre-built and set up by days after joining. So in this case here, when someone signs up to this pre-made package, no matter what day or time it is, it will start and deliver out all automatically for them. Now, this is a lead magnet, so I don't want to have anything to do with it. I just want it all to be automated. So that's what we got set up in here. There's nothing I need to do. We're just using one group, fully automated. It has all the content in it. It has all the tracking and stuff in that I need for them to complete the lead magnet that's in there. And it also has the email sequence to welcome them, to give them the app to go and download, but also to nurture them to become a paying client. So that's going to bring them through either to like a sales call if you're doing sales calls, or in this case here, it's going to bring them through to a sales page. And on that sales page, we're going to have the next package that's going to allow us to go and take payment in there. So we add in our different groups. I'm just going to use the one group on this one, but you can add multiple groups by clicking add group and adding in extra groups. If you don't want to do that, you can hit the trash can button. It'll get rid of that one. And down here, you can see we have copy content to clients. Generally speaking, this should always stay ticked. There are the odd occasions where, depending on what kind of setup you want to do, that you may not need to copy content over from that group when you're adding them to a group. I'm not going into too much detail about when you would use that or why you'd use that, but there are some occasions where that might be useful to do. But let's just keep this nice and simple for now. Hit next. This takes you to the next bit, which is remove groups. So not only can you add groups to clients, you can remove groups from clients as well. This is particularly useful in this particular setup because we have someone in our lead magnet, And as I mentioned, we might have in-app messages going out or content going out to them from that lead magnet. So when they sign up to my flagship program, the main offer I want to put out there, I don't want to overwhelm them with content. I don't want to have the original content from the lead magnet in there. I want a nice clean slate for them. I also don't want them to keep getting reminders to go and sign up to a program they've already purchased. So this here allows me to go and do that. The second thing this actually allows me to go and do is organize my clients. So as I mentioned, groups can be used for all sorts of different things, not just delivering content, but for also organizing clients. So I know if I have clients that are in my lead magnet group, that they're all people that have joined my lead magnet. But if I tell the system here, when we set up the flagship program, to go and remove them from the lead magnet group, then that tells me that actually if they're no longer in that lead magnet group, then they haven't signed up to anything they're buying. So it tells me, I always get a list of people within one group that have never purchased from me, but have shown interest in my services. That's a powerful bit of data because I can use those groups to send out messages to them, which I'm going to show you in a minute with the new communication features. So even if they're offline clients, they're inactive, you can still send them emails and all sorts of cool stuff. So very, very powerful tool, Premier Packages, and very, very powerful tool groups. So again, there's so much can go into it. The masterclasses go into this in a lot more detail. You know, there's nearly 3 hours worth of content in the masterclasses, so it's a lot to try and cover. But I want to focus mainly on the Premier Packages today. Now, this is our lead magnet, so I don't need to go and put a group in here. I can just leave it as it is. So I'm going to leave that empty. I'm going to go and click next. Now it's going to ask me about the sales side of it. So I'm going to run through the different sales options on here. You have one-off payments, so single payment. We have no payment, which is going to be something for free, which is what we'll use for this one because it's a lead magnet. And then down here, we have subscription payments. I'm going to show you just a couple of how each one of these works. So if we start with the one-off payment, you simply just type in the amount and choose the currency that you want to use. Dead simple. If you want to do a subscription payment, you type in the amount, whether you're going to charge them per period, choose the currency, and decide on the length of the period. So is it going to be monthly, weekly, every 2 months, every 3 months, every year, whatever you want it to be. So choose the period. Now, you can also include a free trial to this as well. So if you want to have a free trial, check the free trial box. It gives you an option down here. You can choose how long that free trial is. So if you're offering maybe a membership, a lower price membership program, you want to give them a free trial first so they can continue working with you after that. These are really good for things like hybrid programs, or if you're running an in-person business and you want to have a little side kind of business running alongside that for clients as well. Perfect kind of way to do it. So bang yourself a little free trial on here. Choose the length, the trial period can go in as well down here. And yeah, that's how you set up a subscription. You've also got the no payment option, which is the free version, which is what we're going to do for this particular example. You then hit next. It's going to take you through to the sign up form page. So this is where you set up the form. So the way Premier Packages work is there's a form that they will go and complete. When they go and complete that form, if there's a payment option, the payment option will appear after they've completed the form, so they can make payment. And at that point, once the payment is made, it will trigger the Premier Package. And then that will add them to PTD Distinction, or your account as far as they're concerned. And it'll add them to any groups that you've added them to. It'll do all that automatically after the payment's done. Now, for a free one like this, they're going to get the form. They'll fill the form in as soon as they submit the form. Because there's no payment on it, it'll then automatically add them into PTD Distinction, and it'll add them to any groups that you've created. So that's the process. So here what we're going to do is set up what's going to happen on that particular form. The first bit at the top here, we can decide whether it's going to include phone number fields or not. So at the top, we can have phone number fields on, phone number fields off, whether you want to include this. If you want to send SMS text messages, which is something, again, you can do for the communications, which we're going to talk about in just a moment, you can switch on, and you can collect their phone number, and you can send SMS messages out to your clients. If you're not bothered, just turn it off. Next thing is time zone. This is very, very important, especially when it comes to the communication side of it, because your client's time zone and your time zone could be different. And if they are different, let's say if you set something for, say, 9 a.m. and you have that message go out at 9 a.m. and you want it to go out at 9 a.m. for your client, but they're in different time zones, the triggers aren't going to match. So by making sure that you have the right time zone for your client, it means that if you want something to go at 9 a.m. for them, it will go at 9 a.m. for them. That's the idea of this. So it really does depend where you're on the world, where you're going to start targeting your clients. If you're in the UK and you're only working with UK clients, you're probably going to keep it the same because everyone here is in the same time zone. Makes the form simpler. Let's say you work over in the States where you've got, three different time zones really, or more possibly, depending whereabouts you are. But let's say you have multiple time zones in wherever you live and you work with clients in multiple time zones, in which case you want to choose this option to let the client pick the time zone so everything's going to match up properly when you schedule stuff. Next thing is the preset gender. So a lot of people do question why this is on here. This is purely just for the body fat percentage calculator that's built into PTD Distinction. So in order for that calculation to work, it needs to know whether you're biologically male or biologically female. They're the only formulas that exist. So in order for the calculator to work, it has to know each one of them. Now, if you're not using the calculator, then just click one of them, either male or female. It doesn't matter. Your client will never ever see this. There's at no point in the app or anything that they'll see exactly what's been selected. Nothing at all. So just pick one. Doesn't really matter. If you want them to select, you can click no preset, and it will allow them. There'll be a drop-down menu that will then appear on the form, and they can pick and choose which one they want to go for. It will only give them male or female because, again, that's what's required for the formula. Next thing down here is incomplete sign-ups. This is one of my favorite ones. Now, I'm going to talk about this in a bit more detail on the next one that we're going to set up, which will be for our flagship program. But because it doesn't really make a difference when it comes to free ones. So if you're using a free package, don't worry about this. The next package, I'm going to go into this into a bit more detail and explain how it works. Then down here, we have duration. So we can decide how long this particular client is going to be active for. So sometimes it might be it's going to leave them active until further notice. Happy days. Just leave them as long as you want to, and you can make them an active client. Or maybe you've sold a particular length program. So in this case, it's a lead magnet. I want them to have a week's access to this, so I can choose a week. And then automatically after a week, that client's going to become an inactive client. So they're no longer able to log into the app, but they still can receive emails. Remember that, it's important for this next bit. Now, that's going to happen automatically, and it will happen automatically unless one of two things happen. You override it, so you go into their account and you change it, so they don't go offline at that point, or they sign up to another package. If they sign up to another pre-made package, it will override the previous one. So just bear that in mind. Now, if you're using a subscription, down here you can see you can have a grace period. So the grace period is based on when somebody signs up to a subscription-based model. So questions come down here. Kimberly's like, I've got to hop off and get ready to go out of town. We'll have a watch on the replay. Thanks, Ash. No worries, Kim, not a problem at all. Enjoy wherever you're going to. And yeah, enjoy your trip out. Okay, cool. So down here we have the grace period. This grace period is for when somebody misses a payment. Now, a couple of things to note here when it comes to Stripe. Once you get to Stripe up, Stripe will attempt a number of times. In your settings in Stripe, you can actually change how many times that attempt is made. Just bear this in mind. Every time an attempt is made, there is a small fee that Stripe will charge you. So if the attempt is made and it goes through, you don't pay any missed payment fees. If they make an attempt and the payment doesn't go through, Stripe will actually charge you a small fee for that, for every missed payment. And I think as standard, it's set up as 7 attempts, I think. So just bear that in mind. It can add up over time if your clients aren't paying. Now, you can change that to whatever you want to. Over at PTD Ninja, we have 3 attempts. That's how we have it set up on. So down here, you set up for 3 attempts or whatever you want it to be. And then down here, you give it whatever period of time you want it to go for. So say, for example, if a Stripe does it 3 times, it might take a try a payment every other day. So that'd be about a week. So what I might do in this case, if I've set it up that way, is give it a 7-day grace period. So that means it gives them 7 days after the first missed payment before it's going to go, hang on a minute, no payments come through. And it's then going to move them to an inactive client. It's actually going to take them offline. So not able to access any of the stuff that you've given them, which I think is a really, really cool feature. Just have a think about what settings you have in your Stripe when you're doing that. As I mentioned, as we go through this, I want to share some of the things that we've picked up. And I think that's an important one. What you don't want to happen is have this set for 3 days as well, it is a standard, but have your Stripe attempting every other day and doing 7 attempts. So that when someone then makes a payment later, they're like, hang on, I've been kicked out of my account here, but you're still trying to take payments. So just have a think about that. Think about how your settings are in Stripe into relation to what you set up on here. We then have messaging. Here you can decide whether you have one-way or two-way messaging set up automatically for your clients. And the last bit down here is your login details. So depends how you've set this up. Most people will have this switched on. Over at PTD Ninja, we recommend you switch it off because we have a welcome group that's specifically designed, that has your own customized email that goes out and information about onboarding and things like that for your clients. So we have it switched off as standard. It's entirely up to you how you want to do it. It really is. And then once you've done that, you can then go and hit save. Once you've hit save, what it's then going to do is give you the options on here. So you can see we have a sign up link. So if you don't want to add this to your website, you can actually hit copy link and it will copy that link and you can send that link directly to your clients. Or maybe you have a website builder where you can't integrate code into it, but you can create buttons that redirect through to somewhere else. What you can then do is copy that link and add that link to that button. So when they click it, it takes them to that button and signs up. And what that'll do is it'll create a form for them. And I should be able to just show you exactly what that looks like in here. It's like so. So you'll see a form that looks like this. And then the client can go through this and fill it in. When they fill the form in, it will automatically trigger everything, automatically add the P distinction, add them to the groups and so on. So that'll all be automated in there. The next option down here is your sign up form. So this is a bit of code. It might look really scary, but don't worry about it. It's really quite simple to use. You're going to hit copy code, and on your website, you may have an option to add custom code. When you add that custom code, it's going to create a form. So that's a really good piece of code to add on to maybe a sales page that you built on your website. And down here, you can see we have the package summary at the bottom. Now, when that's all set up, if you want to make any edits or changes, hit the three dots. You can click edit, or you can delete it from here. Also down here as well, you can see we have the test option that we just set up. I can hit the three dots. I can edit it from here. I can get access to my sign up links again if I need to, and codes. Or of course, I can go and delete it from down here as well if I want to. Okay, so you'll notice then when I clicked on this, I then had the edit option. I want to just mention to people now, if you've already got pre-made packages set up, if you already have pre-made packages set up before this update, so say these ones up here, for example, when you click on the three dots and you click edit, give an example here, you'll see here this option comes up to edit and save this package. Now, this will be using the new Stripe connection. There's some really important things you need to know before pressing this button down here at the bottom. If you press this button, you'll use the new editor. There is no way of going back. No way. Once you've hit that button, you cannot go back to the old version. And in some circumstances, it will stop working on that package. And let me just explain why. The first thing is the code is going to be different. So the moment you click that button, that code that you had from the original editor will no longer work. So the first thing you want to do when you click the edit button is to go to your sign up link, take that code and go and replace it on your sales page. Or if you're using a link to a button, take that link and replace it. You must go and do that. So as soon as you hit that button, that will happen. The other thing that's going to happen is if you was taking payment through this and you was using PayPal, it will stop working. As soon as you hit that button, that will stop. So what you're going to have to do is edit that pre-made package, add the Stripe connection to it, and then replace the code. So make sure you give yourself time to go and do that. It's not a long process. It takes me and my team probably like 20-30 seconds to go and do, but give yourself 5-10 minutes to go and do it if you've never really done that thing before. Just take care of a feel for moving around and getting used to it. But that will happen the moment you hit that that button down here. Now, if you want to use the old editor, you can click here and that will open up the old editor. And if that's the case, that allows you to make any edits to that pre-made package. The original code will still continue to work and your PayPal integration will also still continue to work. So please do pay attention to that. Don't just rush through this. Think about what will happen depending which option you choose from and which is going to be better for you. And that's only for editing existing ones. Okay, so we talked about adding in a package. We talked about editing existing ones. Let's go and set up our flagship program now. So we've done our lead magnet, which was a free one. Let's go and do a paid one over here, which is our flagship program. We could do a membership as well, which is subscription-based membership, but we've talked about them already. So in here now, we're going to go and create a new package. I'm going to call this one Test 2. Click Next. And then in here, you can see we have our different groups. So I'm going to go and add in a couple of different groups this time. These all starting now. Results tracking is going to start now. But the coaching content, I want to go and start on the first Monday after they've signed up. So you can see how I have exactly the same controls I would normally do if I'm adding groups to individual clients. The difference is I'm just getting the pre-made package to do all the work for me. And then hit Next. I'm now going to use the remove groups. So I want to remove that lead magnet group down here. So I don't want those follow-up emails. I'm also going to add another group in now. I'm going to click Add Group. And I'm going to put this one in. I'm going to explain what this is in a minute. Abandoned Cart Group. Absolutely awesome feature this is. Click on this. They're all set up. It's removing content. I'm going to hit Next. This time it's going to be, I'm going to do one-off payment for this one. Let's say we're going to do like, I don't know, let's do £300 or something. I don't know, make up a random number. Hit Next, and it's going to take me through into here. I want to collect phone number fields. I'm going to allow them to choose the time zone. I'm going to just pick one of them because I don't let them choose. And now I'm going to use this option that I said I'm going to go into more. This is called incomplete signups. Now, because I'm taking a payment through here, and because of the way that process works, if you remember, there's a form, and when they complete the form, the payment then comes up. So what I can do is this. I can switch this on. This means now, when somebody fills in that form, if they get to the payment page and they leave, which means the payment fails or they hit back or something like that, I've already got their email address. They've already filled that form in. So what I can do is I can automatically add that client to my PT Distinction account as an inactive client, an offline client. So they won't have access to anything. But as I mentioned before, you can send emails still to offline or inactive clients. So what I can do here is not only add them in automatically, I can organize them into a group. I'm going to add them into that abandoned cart sequence. So that means then when they go into that group automatically, as soon as they've missed that pay, as soon as that payment's failed, or as soon as they've left that page when they change the amount at the last minute, an email is going to go out to them because they're in that group. They're going to get it, and it's going to bring them back to my sales page again to get them to go and try again, because there'll be 101 reasons why they haven't actually signed up. It also means those clients are organized into that particular group, so I know which ones have actually been interested in signing up but haven't done it. And again, I can follow up with them as well. So just by using this system here with 2 packages and the different group structure, we've been able to have a lead magnet, email follow-up sequence to them, give them great value in there, organize who are leads, organize who's actually paid for the program, and also automatically follow up with people who were interested in paying for the program and haven't. And it's all completely automated because of these premium packages. You'd have to do nothing. You could literally have slept at night and this would have worked for you. So down here, we've got duration again. I'm going to make this inactive after, let's go for a 12-week period in here. And then down here, subscriptions are relevant because there's no subscription payments. Two-way messaging is going to be on. Don't need login details, and hit save. And it takes me back to this page again, which we've talked about already in here. You can see we actually have these different groups that's now been added in. We can see the payment on here and so on. And that's basically how pre-made packages work. Once you've got this, you can add it to your sales page and so on, and away you go. So that's pre-made packages in a nutshell. If you want to find out more about that, you come and join some of the live masterclasses that we are doing. But I really just wanted to share that with you and give you an idea of how that all works. The next thing I want to talk about is the messaging, the communication updates. So we're going to start off with clients over here. I'm actually going to go and just type in the test client because I'm sure I've got lots in here I can use. That will do. Easy test client. So now you'll see there's a new tab that has appeared at the top called communications, and you'll notice the message center tab has disappeared at the top. That's because everything is now stored in the communication section. So in here, you can see we have 4 different options. Scheduled, so these are messages that are scheduled to go out for the client. Sent, so ones that have been sent to the client. Outbox, these are ones that are sending to the client, so there shouldn't be many things in there very often, only when you're sending stuff. And drafts, these are things that you've drafted up but you haven't ready to go and send yet. Now, to go and add in a message, there's 2 ways you can do it. You can click this little add button here, and it gives you these options to choose from: email, SMS, or in-app message. Or you can click the add button up at the top, green add button that's everywhere, whether you go group or client, hit communications, and it takes you to the same place over here. Now, you've also got the settings option. The settings for an individual client is to receive 2-way messaging on and off, but also whether to use your existing time zone or not. Again, talked about the importance of time zones a little bit earlier in this masterclass. So you can hit update here to go and update that. So that's how that will lie out in here. Now, the other cool thing about this is anything that you put inside here and schedule out for them, not only will it be listed inside here, if you go over to your schedule, you'll be able to see them on the schedule for the client as well. So you'll be able to see what's actually going out for that client on each day if you do it that way. You can also use this filter down here to do it by newest modified, the scheduled order, or subject title. Subject titles are in numerical and then alphabetical order. Now, to give you a better idea how this is going to look, I'm going to open up a group because you can do exactly the same thing in groups as well. A few extra features and stuff in there, so I want to talk about those and show you in groups. So we're going to go into groups. I'm going to go and use just let's use that challenge welcome group, so there's not too much information in here. So here we are in here, and then I'm going to go over to the communications tab. So in this communications tab here, you'll see it's a little bit different. It has scheduled and drafts. The reason is because the individual ones it gets sent to, because it's on the group on here, you don't need to see it all because it'll matter individually, not on a group stage. So you can see everything that's scheduled out here. You can see at the moment, I can filter it down here, and I'm going to go scheduled order. So you can see here we have on joining at the bottom, then 1 day after joining and 2 days after joining and so on. So it's going to go in schedule order, starting for the newest at the bottom, the first one at the bottom of the list, and the top one's the furthest one away. You can also change it to anything else you want to in here in terms of sorting it. Settings are a little bit different. You just have 2-way message on for your group in here. So if you want to switch on 2-way messaging for your groups, that's where you'll do it in here. And then down here, you have the option to add in a new message if you want to. Again, clicking that opens up this option here, or just like before, green add communications, and you can choose one of your options in here. Now, when you click onto any of these, let's just start with email as an example. You can see here it's going to send out to the whole group. If it's for an individual client, then you'll just see the individual client's name up at the top. You're going to give it a title, and then you've got the option here to schedule it. So you're going to click on this button here, and you'll see a number of options. The first one here is the frequency. So you can do it now, once only, which means you're scheduling something for the future, repeated weekly, same email repeated weekly on a given day or days at given times, and then custom. So now would be just going to go out straight away. Once only means you're going to schedule this out, and you can either do this by date or by days after joining if you're in a group. And that's that. So, and then down here you can choose how many days are going to pass after joining this group that email is going to go out, just like before. Again, down here, you have the option to choose whether you want to have this message go out for existing members or just for new people that sign up in the future. And again, you hit save to go make that change in there. Once you've done that, it will show you exactly what's happening up at the top here, so you can see clearly what's going on. The other options you're going to have in here, you've got repeat weekly. So in this bit, again, you can choose either days after joining or date. And then down here, you can see we have the start on and ends just like before. You can choose on what day or days at what given times you want it to go out for that client as well. So same message, same email going out on the same days repeatedly. Great for things like check-ins and maybe group calls and that kind of thing. And then again, you can see that's now appeared on there. That's nice and clear for them. And then on here, we have the custom. So custom allows you to pretty much set up any frequency and stuff you want. To be honest with you, this is the one that I tend to use most of the time because it gives me more flexibility. So over here, you can see we have number of days that have passed after joining, the time I want it to go out, the frequency I want it to go and repeat, and how long I want it to repeat for, whether I just want to keep going indefinitely into the future, or if I want it to finish after a certain number of days or attempts or whatever at the bottom, and then just hit save to do that. Now, just like before, you've got your editor in here, so you can edit and type any texting you want to. And you've also got the ability to add in different kind of bold and italics and different formatting down the bottom here as well. You can add in images, links, change the text font type, things like that, just like a normal editor would do. You've also got something called placeholder text. So if you click on this, it'll give you options for placeholders. They all allow you to share different things in for your clients. These are exactly the same shareholders as they were previously. You just found this slightly different place. Now you can just hit the copy button and you can go and paste it in. And that way it ensures that you've got exactly the right thing copied. What happened before is some people would copy stuff and it not be copied correctly and it wouldn't work properly. So this is going to ensure that. Then once you've done that, you can click schedule your send. You can see now it's all scheduled in here. You can see you have the different icons as well, showing you that it's actually a message going out and how often and so on, when it's going to go from there. Now I'm just going to go and delete that one. I can either edit it or I can click delete from here and that will go and delete it. Now, one of the things put inside here, if you then go to your schedule, I'm going to go days after joining, you can actually see those messages and emails are actually on the schedule. So I can visually see how the overall picture is going to be for your program, not just the content you've been delivered, but also the messages and stuff that are going out. And on each one of these, you'll see it's kind of grayed out a little bit, and that's because your client won't see this on their schedule. This is just reference for you, so you can see what's going on. You can click on any of these and click the edit button. It'll take you straight to the editor so you can make changes and update it from there without having to go always into the communication section. And again, you can view this in 28 days if you want to get a bigger picture, or even the whole year if you want to. It's entirely up to you how you want to go and view this. Just like so. And that's pretty much really all you need to know for the communication side of it. Actually, there's one more thing I want to mention. When you're adding a new one, email, SMS, and in-app messages are pretty much the same. In-app messages are slightly different. If you, this is no different to what it was before, but now you have the option up here to do individual group members and group conversations. So if you've got group conversations switched on, which means you need to have the two-way messaging for that group switched on, which I was showing you earlier, you can have group conversations in here. And then again, you can have placeholders and so on for those messages that go out to them. Yeah. And that's pretty much it, really. There's not much else I think you need to know about those two things. Again, a quick run through Premier packages of communications and the updates that have gone live in PT Distinction. So I hope this has been helpful. I don't know if anyone's got any questions at all that they want me to go through. If you have, feel free to let me know in the comments, whether you're watching now or live on the replay. It's entirely up to you. Before I go, though, and whilst you think about any questions you want to put in there, I want to quickly mention about... Coming this over for you about this. So I've talked over about a lot of different things in here at the moment. I've talked about what we'd kind of do a little bit over at PT Ninja and the different setups and things like that we do. We work with people directly. We work many with PT Distinction users, online personal trainers, to help them build, launch, and grow successful online personal training businesses, primarily focused on mastering PT Distinction to do that. But we don't just focus on the delivery side of it. We help you set up PT Distinction. We give you all the content, the groups, the resources, all the automations. Everything is done for you that you can literally plug and play into your account. So everything you saw on there and much more is there ready for you. And we do that through something called the Academy. Now, the Academy gives you access to our white label library and all the resources. It gives you access to all the training for using PT Distinction in the way I've just described it there and setting up that system that I talked about. And it's a proven system from literally, near on 8 years worth of data now, pushing on to 8 years worth of data from doing done-for-you services for personal trainers, where we help them set up their systems and build things out for them. And we use all that data to work out what works well and what doesn't, and that's what we came up with, that kind of system you saw there. We have all that built out in there, and then on top of that, we show you how to actually develop and build a successful online personal training business, building out all the systems and processes for it, the sales, the marketing, the social media, the paid advertising. Everything is completely covered from start to finish in there. And you can do that by coming to join us over in the Academy. And I'd love to come and see you on that if you can make it. So here's what to expect from the Academy if you're interested. That super system that we told you already, that's already made for you. So we've done all the hard work, setting up your Leaf Magnet Challenge flagship program, year-long membership. We include all the content workouts, automation ready to be copied directly into your PT Distinction account. So that'll be all done for you. You'll get access to our OPTC course covering everything you need to build, launch, and grow a successful online personal training business. You'll have access to our academy where you get 2 weekly coaching calls, a private community, and access to both myself and Jed, my business partner. And also you'll have access to our full white label library built to work directly in PT Distinction, and you get the Canva templates of it as well. Now, cool questions come up there by Sam. Does cordless work with pre-made package, or is it just Stripe? The direct integration is with Stripe. However, there are ways to make pretty much everything work with it. So in your case, if you're using Go Cardless, we'll set that up for you. So everything will connect together. So obviously, Sam, you're obviously working with us, so we'll deal with that. There is a way to go and do it. It would take another like 20-30 minutes for it to demonstrate it on here, but there is a way to go and do it and make them work together. But Stripe is the native integration into PT Distinction, but you can make pretty much everything work. So in your case, we'll be doing that for you. So yeah, and also when it comes to the Academy as well, we do a double investment back in 90 days guarantee, or we'll work with you one-to-one until you do, just to make sure you're not missing out. Now you can come and join the Academy at any point by heading over to ptninja.com/academy, or you can just comment info below, or just send me a DM and I can send the details over to you. The beauty about this as well, and again, this is all thanks to PT Distinction, the support and stuff that they give us. This isn't one of those things that's going to cost you thousands. I'm sure many people who've spoke to mentorship mentors before and coaching programs, and they said they want like crazy money for it. This isn't one of those things. We do have things where we're very, very closely together. We do have programs where we go and build this out for you that maybe would cost a little bit more, but still nowhere near that amount of money. Where in here, you can literally get started with this stuff for £97. It really is that much value for money. So if you're interested, make sure you reach out, head over to the website, whatever it is you want to do, ask any questions. We're here to help and support. And there you go. And that's it for me. Thank you much for everybody that has been hanging around and listening to me for the past, say, 40 minutes or so. And yeah, I guess I'll see you all soon. And I'll see you at the next training. Thanks a lot, everybody. Bye-bye.